Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we have racing in all four series, the Legends Series here with the dirt cars, trucks, Xfinity, as well as the Cup Series coming off of freshly our first win on the season, finally in the Cup Series at Indianapolis with the Brickyard 400. It felt so good to finally get a victory lane, and it felt great to get a win for you guys just in general here now as we come through already to start this episode off here in the NASCAR Legends Series here. This is the Texas Motor Speedway Dirt Series track, and we've been kind of struggling to say the least here lately in the Dirt Series over the last race or so, so I was looking to get a little bit better. David Chodos actually started up front, but it did not last very long whatsoever. After the first lap, he had already lost the lead to Kyle Larson and Ryan Newman. Now, Ryan Newman, there's only been one other winner than Ryan Newman. That was Travis Brown, also known as Moonhead, but you see me making a bunch of mistakes right off the bat, and that was really the story of this race, it felt like for me. But Kyle Larson, he got off to a tremendous start. He was long gone checking out here in the first couple laps, but Ryan Newman, he would get up to second place after passing Joey Stone here with a little bit over 3 laps to go. I accidentally turned the length down to 7% instead of 13 for the race, so it was a little bit shorter than usual as Cozy hit the wall behind myself. But Ryan Newman was hauling the mail, running down Kyle Larson very, very quick as I'm struggling here in the midfield, as you can tell there as I get past John Colbert there. But now we come through to 2 laps to go. Larson trying to hold off Newman for the win there as I get to the wall once again, but out of turns 4, Ryan Newman would take the lead, coming to the white flag as I'm once again into the wall, making contact with Dale Jr. in the 88 car. Now we're down to 14th place. There comes Michael Cozy Jr. right up to the back of us now as David Chodos, he's just up there inside of the top 10 as we come through down this back straightaway into turns 3. Newman wins again and it continues his just dominance of the series. Is out of turns for another mistake, and that allows Cozy to get me at the line. So we get an absolutely horrendous finishing here in our finishing position here in the Texas Motor Speedway Dirt Track, P15. I don't know what to say about that one, but obviously if we want to get anywhere near the playoffs here in the NASCAR Legends Series, we got to pick it up very quick. We don't have a lot of races to make it happen, so we definitely need to be on top of the game now as we come through into the Truck Series race here. This time now we were at Kentucky Speedway. We did go to Kentucky in the next episode for the Cup Series, but in this episode we will be going to Iowa Speedway for the Cup Series, so the first time that track is on the Cup Series schedule. Now we come through, though, with this race getting going. We had subscriber Brian Lorenzo in the truck for us here today. Kentucky, usually in the Truck Series, we run pretty well. Xfinity, we usually struggle a bit, and then on the Cup Series side, we usually struggle even more. So we already went to Kentucky earlier this season in the Cup Series, and you guys probably remember how that went. It was actually horrendous for us. So, of course, we were looking not in the next episode to repeat that process once again. So Brian, though, here on the inside line was making up a lot of time here very quick as he was, of course, playing it safe at least through this opening lap, but then he would make it 3 wide through turns 3 and 4, and he was just moving forwards very quick and really quick. We're realizing that we're definitely going to have a shot to get Brian here in victory lane here in the Buckle Up in Your Truck 225 from Kentucky Speedway. So he was already well up inside the top 10, moving forwards very quick here now, and as we moved on a little bit later, he had now worked his way up inside the top 5 and actually up inside of the top 3 here as he came through out of turns 2, and now he was getting right up to the back of these front runners. We got Jordan Anderson up in the mix. We got Corey Heim as well there in that 21 truck as they went down into turns 3, and now Brian moves up into second place after passing Jordan Anderson. Now on the final lap through turns 3 and 4, a move up the inside from Brian out of turns 4, and he's going to lead the way down the front straightaway, and Brian Lorenzo is going to come through to win here in Kentucky Speedway for our Truck Series team. So, of course, a great way to start the weekend here for the top 3 series, at least now as you see the rest of the finishing order on your screen. But we've had, of course, very strong seasons with our Truck Series team ever since we've started this Truck Series team, so hopefully we can finally get another championship this season like we did in our first season as a team owner. Now as we come through, though, into the Xfinity Series with Paul Menard behind the wheel, he unfortunately failed inspection, so he was forced to start at the very back of the field, unfortunately. So we already knew that we were in for kind of a rough race now as we were getting ready to go green for the ALSCO 300 here from Kentucky Speedway. So Paul was at least starting on the inside, but that doesn't really matter, of course, when you're down this far throughout the field. So really just salvaging, hopefully a top 20 was kind of the main goal. We were having a solid run at Indianapolis, if you guys remember, in the Xfinity series, but unfortunately Paul actually came together late in the race with some other drivers and then ended up in the inside wall, and that completely destroyed our race, and we finished unfortunately outside of the top 20. So we were trying to not let that happen again here from Kentucky Speedway. Now as he came through the turn 4, now he was really starting to make up a good chunk of ground as he went down this front straightaway to complete this first and opening lap there. As you see him cutting down on the apron, he even went through the grass right there. A bit of a pass in the grass moment there as he went down towards the corners. He continued to be aggressive, and unfortunately the aggression would end up getting the best of him. You'll see that here in a few moments now as he was making it 3 wide down the front straightaway into turns 1 all the way up on the outside, nearly into the back of the 15 of Colby Howard, but he manages to get past there on that third lane even. So we come through now a little bit later now down the back straightaway again into turn 3, and now of course closing in towards the top 10, but it was looking like we weren't going to quite get there now as we came through out of turns 4. It was actually the 98 of Tony Bradinger out in front now as we came through down the front straightaway. This was to finish the race right there, and unfortunately it's not going to be a top 10. It's going to be P13 for Paul Menard here in the Xfinity series, but Tony Bradinger picks up yet another win in her rookie season, by the way, here in the Xfinity series. She's having a very strong season in that 98 car now as she picks up I think win number 5 potentially that is for her here in the Xfinity series. So great results from her, and as well as Ty Gibbs, of course, another strong driver we're looking at, as well as Rajah Caruth. Those are really the 3 main drivers we've been watching now as we come through though into the Cup Series race here. Now from Iowa Speedway, the first time Iowa is on the Cup Series schedule there, as we have the Dr. Pepper car back on the car for us here today, as I'm going to be running a special paint scheme through some races here coming up, so you'll probably see that in the next episode now, so stay tuned on that now as we come through. In our qualifying effort, the goal is to hit a 22.921. We never quite hit that now as we come through at a turns 4. We crossed the line with a 23.0, so we missed it by just barely over a tenth, but still qualified P13, which I was pretty happy with. My first laps around here in a Cup Series car, and probably since the last time the Nitro Racing League went here. So I was pretty happy with P13 as Joey Logano gets the pole. Eric Jones up there on the front row. We got some of our teammates, Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, all actually starting in front of us, as we have Quinn Half in the car for us on the Going Racing team, starting in P23. And I can confirm Daniel Suarez will return to racing action in the next episode here after Iowa, going into Kentucky Speedway. So to be very glad to have him back. Alright boys, first time we've ever raced at this track here in the Cup Series. Not fully sure what to expect. It might take me a few laps to kind of get into a rhythm, but we'll get what we can out of it. There you hear myself on the radio. Yeah, really wasn't sure exactly what to expect here for this race now, because I've never made any laps really around here in a Cup Series car, and I've never really raced against single player AI on this racetrack for the Cup Series, of course. So I wasn't sure if they were going to be really hard to beat, and of course I also didn't know if I chose the wrong preset. So I did preset 9 for qualifying, and I actually did preset 7. I think it was 6 or 7 it was for the race. Now as the green flag is though, and the first Cup Series race here from Iowa Speedway is underway here in this Dr. Pepper number 24 Hendrick Motorsports Camaro. A big difference compared to last episode. We were going into last episode saying, you know what, we gotta get as many points as possible because we don't know if we're actually going to make the playoffs with the amount of different winners we've had. But instead of being in a position where we gotta be safe on points, well, we joined the list of different winners and we picked up our first win on the season, and as well we got our third Brickyard 400 victory of our NASCAR Heat 5 career mode. Of course, Brickyard honestly has to be one of our most successful tracks at this point now, as you can see some checkups happening here on the bottom, and that was actually because of the 22 of Joey Logano, who was on pole. He was actually quite significantly off the pace, and you're going to see that developing here as we came through now on lap 3. We were 3 wide in the middle between Harrison Burton and Kyle Larson, as things were starting to pick up quite a bit here on just the third lap of 16 in stage 1. I definitely felt a little bit, I guess you could say, uncomfortable, honestly, at this point in the race. I definitely didn't feel like myself at this point. I felt like I was just making mistakes here and there, and I just wasn't hitting the corners right. So now on lap 4, you see Logano goes from pole place to outside of the top 10, now towards the bottom part of the top 15. But I was now moving my line up here because nothing was really working. So I was trying to just move that line up, get more comfortable up to where usually I like to run, and that's, of course, as close to the wall as possible. So we were running P15 15 though, and now as we came through out of turns 2 on lap 7, you see a mistake for myself. I get into the outside wall there on the exit of the corner, and then I do it again out of turns 4, same lap, and now we lose ground to Denny Hamlin, who goes on by, and then you got Justin Haley in the 16 colleague racing car, who goes by as well, and now Logano to the back of myself, and we were down to P18 as we finished that lap. So things were not looking good whatsoever. I just couldn't get comfortable. Like I said, that was the main issue. I just was struggling to kind of get a rhythm here, but then on lap 9 I actually dropped down to the inside, and then we got up the inside of the 16 of Haley. But with 7 laps to go in stage 1, I finally felt like I was starting to get the rhythm flowing and just kind of figuring out the track, really. And you're going to notice that really come into effect, because now, by the way, they're going 4 wide in front of us between Keselowski, Hamlin, Bubba Wallace, as well as the 42 of Tyler Reddick, as we're 3 wide with Eric Jones in the McLaren, as well as Chase Elliott, our Hendrick Motorsports teammate. So both of the front row qualifying guys of Logano and Eric Jones now outside of the top 15 there. As we go up the inside of the 23 and the 42, we pass them both, and then we get up the inside of the 8 of Zane Smith as well, and just like that, up into the 12th position now, as the 2 of Ryan Preece, by the way, was leading the way here in the final few laps of this first stage. We come through now to start the final lap of stage 1, and right at the front, Kyle Larson was making a pass on Preece here on the final lap. Larson trying to point his way into the playoffs, Elliott trying to point his way into the playoffs, and so is our other teammate of Alex Bowman right now, as we go down into turns 3 and 4 for the final time here in stage 1, back up to that outside line where I feel most comfortable. We get a really large run out of turns 4, but it's not going to quite be enough there, so no stage points here in stage 1 for us, as we have to settle for P12. But I was really happy that I was starting to find something here, and I honestly didn't know if I wanted to adjust the car, because I felt like we struggled so hard on that short run, simply because I really didn't know exactly how I needed to drive the track yet. So now that I had kind of gotten a rhythm down, and I realized, okay, now I know what I need to do, I decided, you know what, we're really just going to keep the car the way it is. I was making a very slight grill tape adjustment, but that was the only thing I did to the car here. Now, as you see the rest of the current finishing order in this first and opening stage here from Iowa Speedway, Timmy Hill at the very back of the field. It is still surprising he runs so poorly, because I gave him quite a good rating and whatnot, and gave him a good car, and he's not been able to do anything with it, so maybe I have to tweak it a little bit more now as we get back underway for the start of stage 2. And now in Iowa, it is time to get amped. There you have the amp segment here from Iowa Speedway. Now we are up inside of the top 10 here as we come through the turns where we've put the pass on our teammate Kyle Larson, who won stage 1, now up the inside of our other Hendrick Motorsports teammate of Alex Bowman. And then we got another teammate of Chase Elliott up there in the top 5, actually going 3 wide, just about trying to move up into the 2nd position, as Harrison Burton currently leads the way now. So we would continue fighting it out here. Only 11 laps to go in stage 2, so the first 2 stages pretty short. I mean, the race overall was actually quite short compared to most races now, as we were up the inside of Anthony Alfredo, but now we had moved ourselves into the top 5 as Christopher Bell was leading the way, so the confidence was definitely building as this race was going on. And as you guys know, we've talked about it many times, this rough start to a season we have had, but now we've been really picking it up here with HMS lately. The last now 3 races, Bristol, we were in the mix for the win, we finished 2nd in a photo finish. The Brickyard, we were in the mix for the win, we capitalized on it and won that race, and now here we are in Iowa in the top 5 here now, as we came through already to start the final lap of stage 2. A very, very fast stage 2. Now, as a caution actually comes out on the final lap, Chase Elliott had actually taken the lead away from Burton before that white flag had come out, so he is going to win stage 2. And now that means Hendrick Motorsports has swept the first 2 stages, and all of a sudden it really feels like Hendrick Motorsports is starting to pick up the pace and get close to what they're doing in real life right now, as I would actually add 5% more grill tape as well and put it at 50% for the start of this third and upcoming final stage. Now, as it looked like Brandon Jones was actually the reasoning for the caution. As you see, Timmy Hill was now 2 laps down. He had some issues. He came into the pit lane, came back out, and he was still on track. As you can see him just in front of Chase Elliott. But we gained 1 spot on the pit lane, overtaking Christopher Bell there in that number 20 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota Camry. Now, as Harrison Burton also overtakes our teammate at Chase Elliott as the third and final stage is underway. Now, Joe Gibbs Racing, of course, we know has been very strong this season. They have gotten so many cars to victory lane. Now, as Burton actually has the least amount of wins, unlike last season for that team, as last season he had the most wins for that team. Right now, he only has 1. Now, as Christopher Bell even has 2 wins. He's been having a breakout season here in our NASCAR Heat 5 career mode now as we exit turn 4. Not the greatest first and opening lap for myself here, but still nonetheless, I mean, we at least hold on to that third position here as we go down into turns 1. Kyle Busch trying to put the pressure on, but you look in our mirror, we got a lot of Toyotas. We got Kyle Busch, we got Christopher Bell, as well as we got Bubba Wallace in that 23 DoorDash Toyota Camry up here in the mix as well. So I was realizing that these Toyotas are going to be a force to be reckoned with here in this third and final stage. Now, as you saw myself move back up the track through turns 3 and 4, trying to get where I'm most comfortable, I felt like we could really build a really strong run down the straightaways when I run in this lane right here. But of course, it gets a little bit tricky when Elliott's in that way. So now we made a 3 wide through the middle, a little bit of contact actually with our teammate of Elliott, but we came through out of turn 2. We got clear of him. Kyle Busch remains though up our inside, and actually he's going to get clear as we come through out of turns 4. But Kyle Busch would end up taking the lead away from Harrison Burton now as we came through to this 42nd lap, and then a mistake from myself out of turns 2. I drift up into the outside wall, do some damage to the car. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. now up into the mix, Denny Hamlin behind us, and Chase Elliott just behind them here as we come through out of turns 4. So now Burton though back to the lead, Bubba Wallace to the inside of Kyle Busch, and now we are under attack from the 6 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., but we would finally get clear again on lap 44. Now as we came through to lap 45 though, out of turns 2, I get very sideways right there now as Hamlin is up the inside putting the attack to us as he tries to move up into 4th place. So it felt like, honestly, in just a few laps, basically, that the car was just falling off of a cliff. And the only adjustment I made was the grill tape, so I, of course, came to a conclusion that once we get an opportunity to pit here, we're going to have to just put that grill tape back down to where it was in stage 2 at least. Now, as Hamlin and Stenhouse, they were going at it side by side here through turns 3 and out of turns 4, but there was still over 20 laps to go. We still had time here in this final stage. Now, as Bubba Wallace had actually gotten out front in front of Kyle Busch and Harrison Burton, so he was trying to get his second win on the season. We've seen those Alliance teams to JGR win this season. That, of course, being 23-11 with Bubba Wallace now, as they need their second driver of Derek Kraus to get to victory lane still. But they've also had the Gaunt Brothers Racing team with Brandon Jones win 2 races. He will be in the playoffs, of course, and they're going to be investing a ton of resources into their playoff season. Now as Ross Chastain in the 47 blows the right front tire in turns 3, hits the wall again, comes down the track right in front of Derek Kraus, who gets a piece of it. The caution comes out with only 17 laps to go. A very easy call actually for us to make. 1 can of fuel, right side tires is all we needed. I do as well put some repairs to the car because you can see the damage, of course, and the car just did not feel great at this point. So obviously looking for a bit of a change as we come through into the pit lane here, getting ready to go back green now. As Alex Bowman has had some issues, he is out of the race, by the way, 20 laps down. So we never even noticed that, but now that means he is going to be out, and that's going to be a huge point sit for him here if he wants to make it into the playoffs. And now, with only a handful of races to go here in the regular season, that is going to be very hard for Alex Bowman to overcome a 40th place finish like that here today from Iowa Speedway. Timmy Hill did get the lucky dog now, so he is back on the lead lap here with a little bit of time remaining here in this race as we come through out of turn 2. We know now that after that pit stop, we do not have to come back into the pit lane, so we're just downright racing it out here for the victory as we go down into turn 3. Harrison Burton now trying to get clear of Bubba Wallace, and sure enough, out of turn 4, he does get clear of that 23 of Bubba Bubba Wallace here as we come through down the front straightaway. 13 laps to go. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. putting together a great effort here from Iowa. We've seen some really strong races here from Stenhouse this season, and as well, we got his teammate in the 17 car, Chris Buescher, having a really good run too, just behind us. So both of those Roush cars showing up here today from Iowa Speedway now as we come through out of turns 4. Elliott now making it up into the mix once again, as now I'm trying to put that fight to the inside of the 23 of Bubba Wallace now out of turns 2 on lap 59. Elliott up my inside, but then I go up the inside of Bubba. We were 4 wide for a very, very brief moment, and we move back up into P3 as we try to run down Kyle Busch as well as Harrison Burton now on lap 60 right here. You're going to see me make the move up the inside of the 18. Bubba Wallace up my inside now, but we are going to be able to get clear of Kyle into turn 3 and briefly now take over the second position. But now we are in a fight with that number 23 DoorDash Toyota Camry here as we come through out of turns 4. Harrison Burton with 10 laps to go, loving what he sees in his rear view mirror as he tries to run away with his second win on the season now. As if we can win this race after what a rough season it has been, well, we can already match the most wins on the season if we can pull off the victory here today. But now out of turns 4, coming to lap 63, still battling, by the way, side by side with that 23 of Bubba Wallace here as we go down into turns 1 and 2. This battle would not end until right here out of turns 2. I get to the outside wall. I was just downright driving way too hard, trying to get to the throttle too early, just trying to get in front of that 23, and unfortunately I cost myself some time and allowed the 9 of Chase Elliott as well to get clear, and now he goes up the inside of the 23 of Bubba Wallace as we come through out of turns 2, and Chase Elliott moves up into the second position as we all try to run down that 19 of Harrison Burton now as we're going to have a crash into turns 1. Derek Kraus, the number 45 car, gets collected by the 10 as well of Matt DiBenedetto. He went around and the caution comes out, and that is going to force overtime for now the 3rd straight race here as we get ready to go green on row number 2, and I only have one option: try and help my teammate Chase Elliott get to victory lane. Burton, of course, in control of the restart. Bubba Wallace, myself, on row number 2 as I'm going to get to the back of the 9 of Elliott. Right here, we give him a bit of a push, but unfortunately, when I shift up into 4th gear, we get disconnected right there from the 9 of Elliott. But I had no intentions in trying to force the issue on him now, as Keselowski, though, has every intention of forcing the issue. He made it 3 wide between myself and Bubba Wallace into turns 3, and Burton goes to the top. Elliott, middle, Keselowski to the inside as he tries to steal the victory away as we lose it out of turns 4 sideways. We get saved by the 17. We're into the 2. The 18 got to the back of us, and now we're 3 wide in the middle as we start the final lap now. Keselowski, by the way, to the lead with Bubba Wallace following him through on the inside here as we try to hang on at least to the top 10 on this final lap now as we come through out of turn 2 as I clip the outside wall right there. Todd Gilliland gets in front of us as we go down into turn 3 for the final time. Brandon Jones, Christopher Bell up the inside as we're 3 wide again. Keselowski steals the win in overtime. Bubba Wallace second. We come through to finish just barely outside of the top 10 now as we have to settle for P12. Bell and Jones got us right at the line out of turns 4 to get into the top 10. A dramatic overtime change of events as Keselowski forced it 3 wide into turns 1 on myself and Bubba and took over there into that final lap. And then of course I just completely lost the car out of turns 4, and if it wasn't for that 17 saving me, I would have completely gone around and probably the race would have ended under caution instead. So that was very unfortunate how that ended for us as we ran top 10 all race after a rough start to stage 1, of course, but very disappointing to end it like that. But we know we had speed, and that's the big thing. We come back to this track in the playoffs in the round of 8, so it's going to be very interesting to see what we can bring back to that track after learning what we did here. Now, as you see the standings here in the Truck Series, only 2 races left, by the way, in the regular season. I believe I showed the Legend Series as well there, but you see on the Xfinity Series, we have quite a few races left here in the regular season. It would be nice if the playoffs matched up better in all 3 series in real life as well, of course, in the game. That's something I would like to see, but now just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 regular season races to go in the Cup Series, and Chase Elliott currently is on the inside of the playoff grid. He's actually looking pretty solid right there with 576 points. Gregson currently the last guy in. Jones 15 out for McLaren. Bowman out by 21. Larson out by 29. Briscoe out by 53. So those are the main guys we're watching here in the final handful of races here in the regular season. If you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time of your day to watch this episode and other ones on the channel, and of course would like to say thank you to the Going Racing members on the channel of MJ, Joseph 9001, Timothy Arline, Bubba Jr., Brett Durward, Dark Gengar Gaming, AJ Vasseur, Russell Dixon, Kenneth Barnett, Dana 9302, as well as King Matt XL. I really appreciate you guys' support, as you guys know, and I'll see you guys out in the next episode from Kentucky Speedway here in the Cup Series. Have a great day, everybody.